We're in Alliance, Nebraska. This is probably the worst place that you could ever build this. In the winter, we'll get real high winds, lots of dry cold. I think it averages daytime around 30 degrees Fahrenheit. It'll get down to every year we'll have days that are 25 degrees below zero or lower.
Wow, it looks like you even have oranges.
Yeah, those are Eureka lemons. These are Valencia oranges. They're the juice orange. This one, it's a new type of mandarin.
That doesn't normally grow in Nebraska.
The what?
Citrus doesn't normally grow in Nebraska.
No, no, nowhere near. The closest ones would be probably 800 miles in Texas or somewhere.
And not a problem.
No, no, in fact, they thrive here. We can probably grow the best citrus anywhere in the world at this latitude for size and quality. These are 12-month greenhouses. And we're wasting our sunshine in Nebraska. During the winter, we're not growing. And we're just wasting all of this underground heat. This is one of the tubes coming out of the ground. 6-inch tubes that go down 8 foot deep and out and clear out into the yard. See where that asparagus is back there? It goes out about 90 foot back there and then comes around and goes in. There's 7 of them come up on the south side here. We're just using the underground heat.
Underground, it stays a certain temperature.
It's stable at 52 degrees here.
So if you have a stable temperature, you can use that both in winter and summer.
Yeah. And this blower here, this sets over 7 tubes, 6-inch tubes that go down 8 foot deep. And then when the blower goes on, it just recirculates that air continually and picks up that ground heat.
So the energy you're using is just to circulate the ground?
Yeah, it just circulates the air underground. It only runs when it's 50 degrees or lower. It draws 7 1/3 amps is all, and that heats the entire place during the winter. But just about everything we put in grows real well. These are figs here, and they'll put up this first crop. Then in the middle of the summer, they'll put out another crop that's way heavier. Here's some grapes, and those are golden muscat. We've got, I think, 9 different varieties of grapes. They're all southern grapes. Northern grapes, they'll grow in here, but they won't fruit. These are Thompson seedless. We're having to learn how to grow grapes because it doesn't work the same here that it does outdoors.
So all you did in order to have this plenty was to take advantage of the sun and to go a little bit deeper into the ground and to combine the two things together?
Yeah. Everything in the design fits together. You can't do away with any part of it and come up with this efficiency. The sloped back wall, this one's so overgrown now that it doesn't make any difference, but in the new ones, when the sun goes low in winter, that wall will reflect down on the growing beds. You don't get growing rays from the north, so there's no reason to have glazing on the north. So we get all of our sun from the south and above. This is all Lexan. It's polycarbonate. It's 3/8 inch thick, and this is twin wall. It has a little insulation value, not very much. But in the back wall, this is the only one that has this open foam. All the rest of them have galvanized metal. These are the little flame grapes, and then too we've got blackberries there. Yeah, there's a pomegranate there. Let's see, are there any fresh blossoms? Here's one, and then here's some more. We can grow local plants, and we can grow tropical plants, but sometimes local plants don't like it as well. This tree is about 24 years old. It'll probably grow for another 100 years or so. When we built the greenhouse was the year I retired from the post office. So this unit's about 24 years old.
So you initially had geothermal just for the house?
Yeah. When we built the house 45 years ago, we took tubes out through the lawn that are 8 foot deep, and they just circulate that 52-degree temperature. This is the geothermal tubes for the house. You can tell there's a little indentation. It goes right down through here, and then it goes into that patio area, 3 different points. We found out it worked so well for the house that we could use it for the greenhouse without the heat pump. This one is 3.5 years old. It's called a Tango Mandarin. I'll pick that one, let me see. When we started it, we knew it would work, but we didn't know how well, and we knew that we had to grow something that you couldn't grow here. So that's why we ended up with the citrus, and I think we have 13 different varieties now. Wow. All of them thrive. Most all of the fruit is way bigger than...
And why is that?
One fellow that had done work in New Zealand, the only thing he could figure was that it was the latitude. But each one of these trees take up an 8-foot circle. At the farmer's market price that we get, the tree will average about 125 pounds of fruit a year. And at farmer's market, that 8-foot circle will return $430. And we grow above and below the trees. This greenhouse, this one averages about 80 cents a day year-round for energy. And the new design is way more efficient than this. So. We always think we've gone about as far as we can with the efficiency, but I can see the time when we could grow all of the table citrus on the high plains to take care of this whole area. The average grower in Florida gets 46 cents a pound for oranges. We get $3.50.
Why?
So they're wholesaling them to a broker, and the broker is selling them to a distributor that they have to truck them from 1,500 miles. The profit that we get off of one tree, they're going to have 9 trees. People say that a young person can't get into farming anymore because it's too expensive. For the price of a 3-year-old 4-wheel drive big tractor like they have to have now, we could build 9 of these for that price. We just finished building it about 2 weeks ago. They're so much cheaper than a conventional greenhouse. We tell people if they have access to a backhoe and can do their own labor, which is easy because it just all slips together. It took 2 of us 6 hours to put the frame up. We tell people they can put one up completely automated for less than $25,000, what they would put for the heat system in a regular greenhouse. That nozzle works pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
This one I can water pretty fast.
Yeah.
How long has it been up?
A short time.
About less than 3 weeks for the plants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
And they took a shock when we first put them in.
They did,
Yeah, they did. Big time. But they're doing really well now.
Yeah.
They're really starting to go. And these up here, I can't believe how much they've
They,
grown.
yeah.
So do you want to have, is this sort of a backyard garden idea as well, to have your own produce?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And experimenting.
Boy, these things have really taken off, haven't they?
Yeah, they're really starting to go.
Yeah.
They're really,
Because that's faster than, wouldn't that be faster than just in the ground outside?
yeah. I've planted some outside to experiment to see which ones have done the best. And these are way ahead of the ones outside.
That's the geothermal tubes. They go 75 foot out, 75 foot across, and 75 foot back into the other end. So you've got 230 feet of tube 8 foot deep. At that length of tube, we found that we'll have enough length in the ground to pick up the whole 52 degrees. It's stable at 52 degrees here. Some places it's down to 48, 49. Some places, like the one up at Blackhawk, it's 62 because they're next to some warm springs.
So if you have a stable temperature, you can use that both in winter and summer.
Yeah, we could use it for cooling now. That's what it's actually doing. I'll show you what that peak is now. Okay, it's 125 degrees. It's coming out at 87 degrees. So it's really circulating. See where that white box is at the other end? That's where all of the 17 tubes come up. And they just circulate through. But we're trying to figure out whether it works better to push like this one's pushing or pull air like this one is. So when we find that out, we'll use whichever is the most efficient. You've got two thermostats. One goes on when it hits 80 degrees, it'll go on for the cooling. When it drops to 50 degrees, it'll be for the warming in the winter. So you've got a 30-degree temperature range in there where there's no fans on at all. So you're not using any energy during that time in the winter. I was a straight D student, but the only class that I really liked was physics. And a lot of this is nothing but high school physics. That's a model of the new type. See, our blower is at this end. Then the tubes come out here and they go anywhere outside 230 foot, and then they come up down in there, and so 4 of them would come in on this side, and then we've got 2 on this side. And those tubes, they go out 8 foot deep, 83 feet. They come up right in this bucket here. Eventually it's going to have a better lid on it. See there, this goes from here into that entry room. And it has a blower, and those are high pressure blowers. See, this one is the one that has the underground tubes that will cool it in the winter. This room is completely isolated and closed. In the winter, when it gets hot in here, this blower comes on, and if it's all closed, it causes a vacuum, and it sucks this air underground, and it's pre-cooled, and then it'll go in here. Then we suck the air off of the peak. That tube takes that hot air off of the top here, and it puts it in. It comes down, and it's a foot deep underground here, down about a foot deep along here, comes up and goes back in up there. And then the blower, it just blows back. It just recirculates that heat and puts it in the ground. So in the winter time, we store that amount of heat in the path. So we think we can delay the fans coming on a couple hours at night. This is going to be a pond. It'll have 1,220 gallons of water in it, and we'll put fish in it. We'll float lettuce on planks. Then we'll water out of it, out of the pond, because the fish will fertilize it.
So aquaponics.
It's aquaponics. If we had the hydroponics set up, we could go clear to the end with a trough in here and have this all hydroponics flowing from this end back into the pond there. There's a lot of geothermal research going on, but most all of it's grant research, so the end product is millions of dollars. So it's not for a market grower like us.
But your idea is that people could copy this or use this, your research and your creation?
Yeah, right now we're working with a company in Dubai, and they're interested in seeing from what we've learned if they could use it for cooling. At night, does it get cold on the desert there? Because at night you would be able to maybe put a little cool air through there. It might be that the tubes would need to be longer. I think there would be a way to use these underground tubes to ventilate the whole thing and not use any outside air. Everything is automated. That would be everything, the blowers and everything are on thermostats. We can monitor it all. If we had the right equipment, we could actually turn blowers on and off with the telephone. On a system like this, organic is the only sensible way to go. You can have locally grown organic for the same as you would have outside if you were using toxic chemicals.
I'm Alan.
I'm Russ Finch. Yeah, and this is a tour that we usually give people that come through. We get probably 5 tours a week at least. So, come on. Anyway, this is the 15th of March, and it was probably, what was the temperature last night? Probably
25.
25 degrees last night, which is pretty warm for this time of year. And this greenhouse is completely different than the new ones. The system is the same, but the floor plan is completely backwards to what it should be. All of the trees are on the wrong side in this one, but this was a hobby greenhouse for 18 years, and all we did was bring in everything we could find that was growing just to see what it would do. And we can grow, in this one, we can grow everything up to bananas and mango and orchids, but on the new ones, they can grow everything. They're in Scottsbluff, they're growing bananas, mangoes, and everything they can find. So, but these first trees are the oldest ones. They're 28 years old now. They'll have the full growth at about 12 years and will produce at about 100 pounds a tree at 12 years old. And right now, these 2 lemon trees are putting out about 150 pounds of lemons a year. And we've already taken 134 pounds off from them this year, and they still have this many left now. So,
Russ, is that a full-size lemon tree or is that a dwarf?
everything in here is on dwarfing roots, except the Myers lemon is a genetic dwarf. So it'll go about 9 or 10 foot tall, and that's all the taller it is. Because of that, we can clone and start cuttings from the Myers and clone the trees just as many as we want. And we clone a lot of them. So, but yeah, this first tree is a Eureka lemon. That's the store lemon, and this one is a Myers lemon that you don't see them very often in the store because they have all the citrus will hang after it ripens, will hang for a couple years. So it just stores on the tree for farmers market and everything. But after about 1.5 years, it starts to deteriorate. But the Myers lemon, once it'll hang on the tree for probably 1 year or 2. But once it is picked, it's only good for about 10 days. It starts to deteriorate. So, but And this time of year, everything is just starting to come to life. In another 2 months, there'll be flowers everywhere down here. So we'll have orchids all along this area here. And right now they're in a terrarium up above. This is a Valencia orange. That orange is, I'll hold my hand up there and show you. That orange is about 2 years old, and it would still be good for juice, but they're at that age they're starting to dry out. So
Is that big one back there the same variety, Russ?
yeah, they're all of this whole tree is the same thing. We leave a lot of fruit hanging to show people what it looks like. So, but
That's as big as a grapefruit, so is that one.
yeah,
And that one's bigger.
that's not the biggest. Last year we had two that were 16 inches around and weighed over 2 pounds apiece.
Wow.
So they were huge, and they were still good. So, but yeah, as far as the flowers, we've got probably 30 different varieties of roses that'll be in bloom probably in another month. That's a camellia that just came out today, and it'll have quite a few more on it. But
Is the camellia tropical or is it a temperate?
it's probably temperate. Yeah, it wouldn't be tropical, but there's 2 varieties in there and a third one that we just put in. But we have just about anything that'll grow up to bananas and pineapple and mango, and it's just a little too cold in this one for that, but we don't have any backup heat in this one. In all of the new ones, we're telling them to put in at least a small vented backup heater to keep from losing plants during an emergency if you lose power or something. So, but yeah, this is a fig. It's just starting to leaf out this week, and the figs, pomegranate, grapes, and kiwi all go dormant. They'll lose their leaves according to day length. So, but yeah, there's a fig just starting with the little one on it. But in another month and a half, the roses and a lot of the flowers will be in bloom. But we have 13 varieties of oranges and or citrus, and all of them hold their fruit for maybe up to 2-3 years, but except for a new variety of tangerine that's a tango mandarin, and it will drop its fruit when they're ripe, and the bartender lime drops its fruit when it's lime or when it's ripe. But especially the tango mandarin, when it drops its fruit, that's when it's really sweet. So, but let's see what else we have. This is the only greenhouse that has a wall, north wall like this. For 25 after this, we used galvanized metal siding with 3 inches of foam board in between, and 2 skins. And for the last 25 or so, we've used all urethane foam spray. So we have 89 greenhouses now, or 90, and most all of them are for commercial, for farmers market or locally grown. So. But, let's see. You can see the citrus puts out such a mass of blossoms that they don't take a pollinator, because just the blossoms falling off over each other spread the pollen. So. Let's see, this is a Cymbidium orchid, the big corsage orchid, that it likes the cold, so we can leave it down all year. So, but let's see. Yeah, all of the roses, because they're in here, they won't go dormant. So we have to cut them back and strip all the leaves off from them to force the dormancy, and then they're just now coming back out. So another month they'll all be in blossom, and they're all perfect because they don't have any weather or insects or animals to fight. So let's see, this is the new Tango Mandarin, and it came out probably about 6 years ago. They started selling it. What they did, they GMO'd the seeds out of a Mercat tangerine, and when it developed and came back, the entire plant is way better than the original plant. It has bigger fruit, more fruit, sweeter, no seeds, and but the main advantage of it is that it develops in to the 100 pounds probably in 5 years instead of 12. And it has a perfect growth habit for in the greenhouse because it's more upright. So,
Russ, I see a blackberry there.
we have blackberries back there. They go dormant too.
Have you done other caneberries like raspberries and stuff too?
There's some raspberries came through, volunteered from outdoors, and they do really well. And they maybe do better than the blackberries even. So, but this is a pomegranate, and it's just now starting to leaf out this last week. So, but let's see what else we have. Cymbidium orchids are coming out. We've got some new Asian pears back there that they're just starting to leaf out now. So, but some of them look pretty ragged this time of year. If inside here the leaves put out some oil, and then without any weather to wash them off or any rain or anything, they'll build up a sooty cover on them. So about once a year I come through with a high pressure washer and really wash them down, and that tears some of the leaves up pretty good. But they'll right away now they're going to put out all new leaves, so it won't bother them at all. So, but yeah, this is a fig tree that grew out of the compost pile from some cuttings that we took off of the other fig tree, and it still produces a lot of figs and is a good tree. The only thing is it's not grafted on dwarf roots, so we have to keep cutting it back because it wants to get out of here. So, but yeah, this is the bartender lime back here, and it really produces
Now those are ripe when they turn yellow?
those are limes. When they use them for bartender or bars, they're green, and if you leave them on long enough, they turn yellow. But after they turn yellow, they really have a strong lime flavor in them. So, but that would be a key lime there too. So, but these are Mineola oranges, and we have a compost pile back here that we after the first year, you don't need to use any fertilizer for the first year. The second year, you should have enough compost that you can use compost entirely without bringing in any other fertilizer. So you don't bring in any diseases or any insects or anything like that. So, oh, here, these, the only insects or the only pests you'll have is some years early in the fall or in the spring, you'll have green aphids, but they're easy to take care of. We get rid of them real easy, but then every greenhouse will have white flies, and they have a rhythm of about 6 weeks where they build up. So, but they like certain plants. So these are potatoes. So, and the white flies, they love potatoes. So we plant them to attract the white flies, and then we just use a trigger bottle of dormant or horticultural oil. I don't know why they call it dormant, but anyway, it's horticultural oil. All it is refined mineral oil that you can spray a berry with it and eat it. But what it does, it smothers white flies. It smothers the adults and the eggs. And once they're smothered, they don't get immune to that like they do some of the toxic chemicals. So, but aphids give live birth, so you have to go about 5 times over to get rid of them. But once you get rid of them in the spring, you won't have them until the next spring. But the dormant oil will get them all. So, and some diseases. So,
How wide is this greenhouse?
this greenhouse is 16 foot wide. All the new ones are 17 foot. This one is the only one that had a clay wall like this. The wall held up for 27 years. Last spring we got so much moisture that it started to work on this wall, so we put in some retaining wall some places. But all of the new ones will come in at ground level 4 foot on the south side. So you have a 4 foot growing bed on the south side that's a full length, and all of the larger plants are on the north side, so you get sun anywhere in the unit. You can plant anything anywhere in the greenhouse because it gets enough sun, except in the walking path that would have the shade from the south side. But other than that, there's a raised path here so that you can work the south bed at waist level. So you can just about reach across the 4 foot. So, and you could plant anything on the floor any vegetables or anything. Scottsbluff, they have their bananas and mango, all that down in this area. So
How tall are we in here? About 12 foot?
it's about, this one's about 11.5 foot, and the new ones, they can be 11.5 to 12 foot depending on how much soil you take out. So, but on the new ones too, there's a 2-foot growing bed on the north side that you can grow anything in. But if you grow trees on that north side, in about 6-7 years, you're not going to be able to get to that bed because of the trees. But because of that, right away when we build them, we'll plant kiwi, grapes, and caneberries in spaced in that bed. That way, after you can't get to that bed, it still will produce because the grapes and everything will come up over the trees. So. Anything else?
Not that I can think of. I see
We're 4 foot deep.
and I see the vent from the fan right there.
Oh,
the vent
okay.
from the blower.
Yeah. Now this one, this greenhouse is really real inefficient compared to the new ones. On this one, we took the air, we put the blower in the center back over there, and it goes out through the floor about 100 foot outside, and then comes back in down this wall, and that's real inefficient. In the new ones, that blower would be at the far corner, north corner at ground level, go down 8 foot anywhere you want to go outside, as long as you come back in at the other growing room north corner. And then when we put the blower on the opposite end of the entry room, then it just recirculates the air the full length of the greenhouse. So and that's originally was just to for winter heating. That blower comes on at 50 degrees and stays on to put the 52 degree soil temperature through the tubes and into the greenhouse, just to keep it above 28 degrees, because anything in here can take 28 degrees. And actually the citrus thrives in the winter on that cold. And then let's see what else. We're 4 foot deep in the pit. Vigor 60% of the efficiency comes from the pit alone, because of the radiation from the heat from the side walls and the floor. And let's see, this one is really crude. This one we did in my shop. We split the metal and then re-welded it, and my welding's pretty poor. So on all of the new ones, Antioch Machine Shop fabricates all of them, and they're all done on a bender. Then every one of them is exactly the same. So
How long is this greenhouse? This one's
this
78,
one's
Russ?
only 78 foot long. Most all of the new ones, especially if they're going to use them for commercial, are either 96 or 102 foot long, and that seems to be the best length. We have 2 of them that are 138 foot long. One of them at Scottsbluff has 30 foot of classroom before you enter the greenhouse, but The other one up at Wakefield, Nebraska, is 38 foot of all greenhouse, and that's getting a little too long, I think. So we can, though, if they want to have more growing area, we can do a north-south corridor and build greenhouses off of both sides of that greenhouse or that corridor, and use the corridor as the air handling corridor on them. So
It's
wanna
pretty easy to do a central room and then
Yeah.
go out 96 feet or 102 feet each way from
so,
there.
but you want to get into the hemp?
It's up to you.
Yeah, right now, because the interest in the hemp growing, we have unit set up in a warehouse in Alliance that actually has a greenhouse set up in it that has a total light deprivation system in it that we've developed that will on a timer you can control the light in the daytime to total darkness as many times as you want. So
That's all. Can all be controlled over the internet, all
yeah,
automatic.
it can all be controlled on the internet by cell phone, or well, we can do anything now with it on the cell phone. So
That's it.
does that cover
I
everything?
think so.
Yeah, it's probably long